All right. So the question is, why did the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva died? It sounds completely absurd, and it's especially the reason why it says they died is because they lacked a kavod between each other. They didn't respect each other. So first of all, we're speaking about the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, who was one of the greatest rabbi that ever existed. And Rabbi Akiva's mission was to transmit the Torah Sheba'al Peh at the time, and create a whole new Judaism. I mean, our Judaism would be completely different if we had 24,000 teachers from after Rabbi Akiva. We know he ended only with 5 students. So we're talking about something massive and something huge and big, and therefore there's a very strong lesson here to get why they died. Besides that, we know also that Rabbi Akiva is the one who teaches Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. He's famous for that principle that we have to love each other and therefore respect each other. So it sounds a complete contradiction to have Rabbi Akiva who teach that one should love each other like oneself, and all the students of Rabbi Akiva who died. So first of all, we have to, and the third point is, we are speaking at a time when just during Sfiras HaOmer is a time where we count coming close to the receiving of the Torah. So what has happened during that time? Everything is there in place for us to find the answer. So number one, we have to say that we have to know the 24,000 of students of Rabbi Akiva, according to in Talmud and Midrash, they were reincarnation from the 24,000 people who died when Balak and Bilam tried to seduce us with the Moabite woman, and with Cosby and Zimri got killed by Pinchas. So there was a plague of 24,000 people, souls. So Ritzun and Rabbi Akiva were the reincarnation of those. Plus, those 24,000 were actually a reincarnation of 24,000 people from Shechem who were killed by Shimon and Levi. So just to understand that here there was a whole process of Gilgulim, a rectification of those souls that had converted maybe for the wrong reason, or at least it was not completely pure, and I think the Arizal says that they needed a refinement. So that's one level where we have to understand that those 24,000 souls needed a complete rectification. It took a few time for this to happen. But besides that, let's try to understand. Those students were the future of the transmission of the oral tradition. And Rabbi Akiva, the reason why he was teaching Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha at that period of time, because within the Jewish people there was the moment of a split. We know Rabbi Akiva was the student from Rabbi Eliezer ben Harkness, who was already put in cherem because he didn't agree with the majority, and so Rabbi Akiva was the direct students from him. He learned from him, and there was a time when the Chacham were starting to split. So Rabbi Akiva understood that there's something fundamental that needs to be taught, and that is to teach the fact that we have to love each other, we have to respect each other, and there are many ways for the Torah to be expressed. So Rabbi Akiva was teaching this to his students. He was telling his students, you have, each individual has a different approach to Torah. Each individual can have an entire different way to look at Torah. But you need to love each other, you need to respect each other, you need to see that each one has its own derech, and you can be fighting with each other, and you can disagree with each other, but it's fine, as long as there is love, as long as there is respect. I might completely disagree with your derech, but I respect, that's your derech, okay, fine, that's work for you to be close to God, fine. And this was necessary before the Kabbalat Torah. That's why we mourned before Shavuos during this time, because if we don't understand that this is the way of the Torah, that the way of the Torah is that each one should have his own unique way, and each student doesn't appreciate and accept that the other one's Torah has a value, has a place, has a derech on its own, then I'm destroying all of Torah Sheba'al Peh. Then it's not Torah. Then I cannot be Mekabel Torah. So that's why it had to happen during that time for us to learn that lesson. And I want you to read you the Pirkei Avos, just that it's clear that it connects to what we're saying. It says, Avtalion Omer Chachamim Hizaharu B'divrechem Shema Sachuvu Chovas Galuz V'siglu Limkom Mayim Aharaim V'ishtu Atalmidim Hapa'im Acharechem V'yamusu V'nimtza Shem Shemayim Yischalel. Right? So Avtalion was saying, this is chapter 1, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Yud Aleph, chapter 1, Mishnah 11. Avtalion says, scholars, Chachamim, be cautious with your words, be very careful with your words, because maybe you may incur the penalty of gallows, of exile, and be banished to a place of evil waters. Meaning, by the way you're going to teach, you're going to teach in a way that evil waters, Torah is compared to waters, the Torah is going to become destructive to you. The disciples who follow, the disciples who follow you may drink and die, and consequently the name of heaven will be desecrated. We know also that Torah shelo lishma, Torah is learned for the wrong reason, it is a poison of death. Sam Aves, it destroys you. So there's a way to learn Torah that can be destructive. We know, like for example, in the Chumash, the Orach Chaim says that everybody can interpret in his own way the words of the Chumash, as long obviously it makes sense, it is logical, it doesn't go against Jewish principle. But as long as it's logical, one is allowed to interpret any way, even if it disagrees with the Rambam or Rashi. For the Chumash, one is allowed to have his own explanation, interpretation. If I don't understand that, if I don't value the other one's opinion, the other one's derech, then we're going to destroy all what Torah Sheba'al Peh is about. The beauty of the Jewish people is to have 12 nations, 12 tribes that live together in harmony and pass on the Torah. So I believe this is why we see that the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva die. Why such a strong thing? Because unless we get that lesson straight, we're going to destroy the Torah, and we end up like we have today. We live in a generation where people disagree with over this Hasidic Rebbe, with this, the other one, with the Lubavitch against this one. Everyone is fighting with each other. There is no love, there is no respect. What's happened? Exile. We get destroyed. That's not Judaism. Judaism is being in total harmony with each other. Understand that each one has his own place and on derech. Okay, if the derech you see is destructive, we have to do something about it. But this derech can be destructive for me, but good for the other. But one needs to have to treat it with respect. That's the main thing, to understand to love the other, understand that he's trying to find his own way. If I've done that, then I'm going to understand the Torah. I can transmit the Torah. I can be a teacher of Torah. It was the future of the Torah Sheba'al Peh. So that's why it was such a strong thing. That's why Rabbi Akiva was emphasizing that love and respect between each other. And that's why Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who brought on the Lag BaOmer, who died on Lag BaOmer, he's the one, his message stopped that plague. What was his message? The message was the Kabbalah, the highest level of Kabbalah, the Zohar, that was the last part of Zohar that was taught on that day. What's the Kabbalah with Zohar? The Zohar and the Kabbalah is here to teach us that everything matters. Hod shebehod, in Sphira, Hod shebehod is understanding looking at with a microscope at the world, understanding that everything has its own place, everything has its own light, everything has its own value. And unless one is aware of that, we don't understand the Torah. We don't understand the opposites. Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chaim. We don't understand those things. So the Kabbalah and the Zohar is the part that enables us to understand that two opposites can be united, that fire and water can be together, and that's what stopped the plague. That's what the plague stopped on 33rd day of the Omer. So it's a lesson for us that we should all be able to be united, love each other, and work on our character traits. That's what we learn. Sfiras HaOmer is a time where every day there's different sphera, and we work on our character trait. And by doing this, we all refine ourselves, find our own place, and learn to live in harmony in the world, even though each one is so different. And then we need to be Mekabel Torah and learn a Torah that is kedarko, like every child should be taught kedarko, and then we'll have a real Judaism, a real transmission of Torah. V'hatzlacha.